So for years at FITSNews, we've talked about how infrastructure needs in South Carolina have been driven by politics, not by the needs and interests of the citizens and businesses that rely on our roads and bridges to move their families, to move goods, services. South Carolina Department of Transportation officials, though, in recent years have been undertaking one of the biggest, most significant infrastructure projects in the Palmetto State's history. I'm referring to the Carolina Crossroads project. You can see part of it behind me. This is a lane widening on Interstate 26, about 12 miles northwest of downtown Columbia, South Carolina. It is just one part of a massive, multi-year, multi-phase project that aims to untangle a huge mess of interstate congestion just northwest of the capital. Now, for those of you who have lived in the Midlands region of South Carolina, you know about Malfunction Junction. This, of course, is the confluence of Interstate 20, Interstate 26, and Interstate 126 coming out of Columbia, South Carolina. It's an outdated cloverleaf interchange built decades ago that cannot handle the modern influx of congestion and traffic moving through the center of the Palmetto State. Well, 4 years ago, DOT officials announced the launch of this project, which is intended to untangle that mess and modernize not only those key intersections northwest of Columbia, but to widen and add interchanges up and down this interstate system. Now, we're sitting here on a new bridge. It was built just last year. This is one of several new bridges and interchanges that are part of this $1.6 billion project. And again, that's the initial price tag. That number could go up in the coming years. Obviously, a lot of inflation has happened since then, but additional projects, additional lane widenings. Now, we've learned that the widening of roads on Interstate 20, which is a big part of this project, is going to start next year in 2025. And the major overhaul of those interchanges, the two interchanges, 20 and 26, and Interstate 126 and I-26 coming out of Charleston, those interchanges are going to be upgraded beginning in 2026. I'm saying 2026 a lot here, people. A lot of interstates, a lot of interchanges, but there is a symmetry coming together here as this long-awaited project finally moves to completion. Now, why didn't it happen years ago? I want to tell you why. As I mentioned at the outset, for far too long, politicians in Columbia have allowed their pet projects or their economic development deals to prioritize infrastructure spending. We saw it down in Berkeley County with the big Volvo project. We saw it up in Rock Hill in York County with the Carolina Panthers interchange, which, by the way, that deal completely collapsed, but taxpayers still on the hook for tens of millions of dollars. In Dillon County, an interchange was built literally where an interstate doesn't even exist, part of an effort to pressure the federal government into funding Interstate 73 there in the South Carolina PD. Again, these are not core projects. This, folks, is a core project. But if you want your infrastructure dollars to be spent properly, count on FITSNews to continue to hold those politicians accountable for how they are spending, again, what amounts to billions of dollars of your money.